Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let me introduce myself and my partner. My name is Ellen Sulistyawati as a moderator and also the second speaker. And my partner,
My name is Azahra Salwa Cantika as the first speaker.
okay, so in this presentation, we will discuss about did Couture ever really end? For the first material, will be presented by Azara Salwa Cantika. For Azara Salwa Cantika, time is yours.
Okay, this material about Cold War. Cold War is a term that refers to the competition that developed after World War II between communist and non-communist groups of countries. In the context of this definition, communist countries such as the Soviet Union and their allies are called Eastern Bloc, while countries with democratic groups such as America and their allies are called Western Bloc. The increasing tension between the Western Bloc and the Eastern Bloc is what is called the Cold War. Okay, according to Evan Maudsley, relations between the US and Russian Federation have been cool over the past 10 years. The Cold War meant more than tension between two major states. One of them, a consequence of the Second World War, was global bipolarity. Such weapons made military conflict on the scale of the Second World War unthinkable. So, the war was therefore a cold one, carried through ideology rather than fighting. The world changed profoundly in all three areas as a result of the collapse of the Soviet Union. Okay, the next. According to Piers Ludlow, there is still plenty of conflict, plenty of division in today's world. It was this that drove the Cold War and turned it from a traditional great power rivalry into a defining feature of the period between around 1947 and 1991. So, the Cold War has ended, however divided, insecure, and unpredictable our current world remains. And the last one, according to Catherine Meridell, the Cold War ended finally in December 1991 as the Soviet flag was lowered forever. Mikhail Gorbachev closed the door on his Kremlin office, ceding power to Boris Yeltsin. A new class of global Russian emerged, get a taste for luxury and turning up in Cyprus, Paris, Kensington, and Brooklyn. That master of the Cold War spy plot, John Le Carre, began to set his novels in Kenya and Panama. Vladimir, Put, Vladimir Putin was a product of the Cold War, KGB, the main security agency for the Soviet Union from 1954 until its breakup in 1991. So I think enough. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Azara. The next material will be presented by myself. The next slide, please. Okay, what are the effects of Cold War for today? Even though the Cold War uh, ended, it still affects the world today. Cold War has big impact in our current condition. Also, the Cold War led to increased development in nuclear weapons for military engagement. The period after the war has seen more developments of nuclear technology in science, especially in the field of medicine, energy, and industry. The Cold War is so important today because it has helped shape our lives today. It stopped communism gaining power in the West and helped create many friendships. It affects almost everybody today in some way. The effect of the Cold War are actually very easy to see. It led to the United States becoming the superpower of the world. And then, almost all warfare nowadays is done in fear of nuclear attacks. This means that most fighting today is no longer frontline, but done from afar. The Cold War has also affected us today by helping the West evade communist rule without interference from the United States. Forced China and the Soviet Union might have conquered Europe and the United States. Finally, the Cold War helped from modern-day friendships, alliances, and hostilities between countries. Today, this is seen in politics, sporting fixtures, and much more. The next slide, please. The Cold War also bring negative impact for our life today. The first one, in Germany, the Cold War separated West Germany from East Germany. The same thing happened in Vietnam, which was separated between North Vietnam and South Vietnam. Number two, Korea, which until today is divided into North Korea and South Korea. Number three, the United States is also trying to overthrow leftist governments such as Guatemala, Cuba, Dominica, and Grenada. Next slide, please. Okay, uh, back to the first question. Did Cold War ever really end? Although in history, the Cold War ended in 1991, however, from our opinion, the Cold War isn't over yet. It is called the Cold War because the two sides were never involved in direct military action, but each possessed nuclear weapons that could cause great devastation. Now, until now, these nuclear weapons are still there and continue to be developed. Tensions between the warring countries continued, although not so much. They still compete to be the best and try to show their existence as the strongest country. The current Cold War is not only between the United States and the Soviet Union, but China is also trying to show its existence. China, which was once a country with a poor population, has now become a country with super fast progress. Even China is counted on in its vote at the United Nations. China poses a threat to the United States, and China became a concern to be fought by way of the Cold War. To sum up, in our opinion, the Cold War will always exist because it is part of the development of the world where countries are conducting espionage and competing in everything, especially military, technology, and politics, to be the best and the strongest. Only the name is finished, but the meaning of the Cold War will always remain. I think that's all for our presentation. Thank you for your listening. May all those we have shares be beneficial for all of us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.